You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid. Well, are stupid.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, buddy. You know, it's very funny when we first did this, when the person did this, whatever you call it, like track for us.
The intro.
And what they put together, it's so, and that was at our beginning of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's so on the money, though, isn't it? It's so on the money.
Well, things haven't changed.
They've gotten worse.
Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine.
I feel like I don't hear myself.
Okay, no, I hear you.
Like you sound much better than I do.
Well, you can't. There's no electronics that can take care of
I
that.
wonder if. Okay,
I hear you fine. You want to switch headsets?
No. I'm good now. I maybe I just had to get used to it.
What's up, Ronnie Boo?
Nothing. We're doing this early.
We got a lot going on, Bronny. A lot going on.
We usually record these in the late afternoon or like night, like late at night. But it's like 10 a.m. right now.
We usually we'll do it 10:30 p.m. Eastern time because of your work schedule.
Yeah. But right now it's 10:30 a.m.
It's 11:34.
Oh, okay.
But we went to bed. We got a lot going on because the Bronster's taking up a lot of time.
It is.
We have to go live tonight. You're doing. Do I need to put an alarm or you got it? You remember live?
We'll do it.
All right, we got to go live tonight. We got more videotaping. You've got the Bronster dating.
I have about 3 hours of dating today.
Oh, poor Bronny. So we've got a lot.
I'm just a professional dater at this point.
Yeah, don't brag about that. So we got
quite literally. I'm getting
yes,
paid.
You are.
The podcast is paying me.
All right, let's not get narcissistic, so to speak.
No, but
did you brush your teeth today?
No,
okay.
I woke up 30 minutes ago.
All right, so
I woke up, had my coffee, hence why I'm wearing a hat. So if you're watching, you know my hair is not out in this episode, first time ever. We might lose viewers because my hair is not out,
or maybe we'll keep viewers.
Right. So I'm wearing a hat because I woke up, my hair was all crazy, and I didn't feel like showering and.
That's all right.
Putting shit in it, so I just covered it.
You.
Yeah.
So, we went to bed late because we had my friend's daughter's graduation party at my house on the roof, and I went to bed around 3:00 after cleaning up. So it was definitely a late night. And
I mean, we're so different in that. Like if I ever have people over or whatever, the last thing I want to do at the end of the night is clean. I just leave it till the next day.
Right, and I get it, but to me, I'm going to have other stuff to do the next day. I don't want it hanging over my head. So I get it done so I can sleep easy, make sure everything's ready to go in the morning, and I can get my shit done. Because right now I'd be cleaning up, sweating my ass off, be hanging over my head.
I know, but I'd rather do it when I'm like well rested and chilling than like at the end of the night. That sounds horrible.
But it's another half an hour. I had shit to do. It's fine. I got it done. It worked out great. And the only thing is that suffered is I didn't get up early enough to run, which I'm not happy about. That part sucks because I really am unhappy about it. What are you doing?
Nothing.
So, and here we are. It's smart to get it out. So we got a lot of errands. You got a lot to do. And then tomorrow night we got to film the other one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So if you're listening to this comes out Monday at 5 p.m. Bronchial episode 1 comes out a couple hours after this comes out. So if you're listening to this on Monday, then you got to tune in for the premiere of the Bronchial.
So our listeners and viewers get double all money. That's a great day for them.
Yep.
The Bronchial is going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think so.
Well, it's going to be fun regardless. Like of what?
It's been fun already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of work. It's like I have 3 full-time jobs now.
Hey, Bronny, we have to watch. I want to watch Godzilla and King Kong. I'm not waiting for the movies. We can't even fucking...
What do you mean waiting for the movies? It's
said,
not even in theaters or on HBO Max anymore. We fucked up.
You fucked up.
Well,
I wanted to watch it. You said, but why can't
you
we...
wanted to watch it on the TV, and I said, watch it on the TV. I want to wait till the theaters.
But I waited for
and then
you.
we didn't have any time in the
we
theaters.
We had no time. So
and
what
now
do we
it's
do?
out.
It's gone.
Well, now we have to wait till it comes back on TV, but we have to pay now. We missed the free window.
Wow.
Yeah, we fucked up on it.
It's all right. We'll survive. That should be your biggest problem. Whoa, it's going to cost $15?
Yeah, but I wanted to see it in theaters.
It's interesting. They're not making in theaters then. Well, nothing's making in theaters. I hear you fine.
I don't.
Wait, say it. Speak again.
Oh, now I hear. So weird. What's going on?
No, it's
my
fine.
headphones. Maybe it's my brain. Maybe it's not even my headphones.
Maybe
my brain is just cutting in and out. But yeah, we fucked up on it. Whatever.
It's no big deal.
I mean, I don't even care about movies anymore.
All right.
Who cares about movies anymore?
Going to movie theater.
Just movies in general.
I like watching movies.
Who cares about new movies? Let me say, actually.
I mean, Netflix and all that shit. Give me a break.
Just like, is anyone in America right now
anyone
like?
Out there?
Is anyone in America like? I can't wait for this movie coming out in 2 weeks.
Maybe it was nice when those things were happening. People had something just to go mindless stuff, entertain, and just rather than dealing with the fucking Fox and CNN. Maybe we need more good movies out there.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's so bad
without
now.
political messages.
I'm saying it's so bad now that people have just lost their passion for it. I feel like lost
maybe
their
we gotta bring
interest.
it back.
Maybe that's just me.
Maybe it is. I think you didn't eat, did you? You getting a little hangry?
No. That's a serious thing I'm talking about.
I know, but sometimes you get a little bit like have a Snickers bar, like you're a diva.
I haven't eaten today, but I did have tacos at 2 a.m. last night, so that's probably still in my stomach.
Where about?
El Camino.
Nice.
They I hate when I eat late, but when I'm doing it, it's great.
Like fuck it, yeah.
But then 5 minutes after I finish,
you regret
I'm
it.
like, why the fuck did I?
But
do
it's
that?
good. Just enjoy it. You're 25. Just have fun with it.
And I
The
did.
meatballs are pretty good last night. Mm-hmm. We got a lot. We'll heat them up again.
Yeah, that's what people want to hear us talking about the food that we eat.
Sorry, no problem.
I was just gonna say something I forgot. Whatever. I don't remember.
Food. You need food.
I do need food. I feel like I've gotten better with that. I used to, when I was young, I would.
You're still young.
Okay, when I was younger than I am now, I would. If I didn't eat, I would get so. I would be in such a bad mood.
You're still. You get bitchy.
But you think I want to be like that?
No,
I have no control.
No, you do have control.
I'm not.
You're a little bit. It's okay. You're
but
just a little.
I'm not
bitchy
I'm not like. Ooh, I'm a little bit hungry. Let me be annoying to everyone.
And nobody says that or speaks like that.
It's just my blood sugar.
No, you're just a little. You're a little bitchy. You're like a prima donna when you're not eating. But it's
right.
Okay.
But wait. But I'm not choosing to be like that. That's just what is happening, and then I have to actively fight against it.
Oh my God! You have to actively fight against it.
Yes, I have to tell myself, okay, don't be in a bad mood. Don't be in a bad mood.
Let's put a label on, like everybody. This is a syndrome. Let's label it.
Well, no, I'm not saying.
All right.
That.
So to everybody listening, I want everybody to DM. Just say I want to do this. You know, everything's a fucking label. When Bronson doesn't eat and gets bitchy and
Snicker syndrome.
No, and gets an attitude. No, that sounds too cute. I want people to give us their ideas of like someone gave cancel court.
But why? We're never going to say that ever again.
I will. I just think it's funny because I can use it at home when we're around. When I go to Nell, oh, here he goes. He's got a
But wait, I'm genuinely asking you, do you think that I'm purposely being like, oh, can't wait to be in a bad mood because I'm hungry?
No, because you're not
I don't like that.
You're not a kind of person that gets in a bad mood, but you do get in bad moods and you do.
Right, and I don't like when I am, but I can't. I have to. That's why I said I have to fight against it. And you're like, oh, you have to fight against it. No, yes, I do.
No, there's no judgment here other than me just having a conversation about it.
Right, and I'm having a conversation with you about it.
I get it, but you do get. I'm just saying the facts.
No, I acknowledge that I do.
I know you do.
I'm saying I don't like that I do that.
I think you can overcome. I just think you're just like a little bitch sometimes.
I do overcome it. It used to be much worse than it is now. You have to agree.
Yes, I do agree.
When I was 14 and I was hungry, I would be like against the whole world for the 30 minutes that I was hungry. Now I'm just like, I get kind of quiet.
All right, so we're gonna get someone to give us a label to it.
So mom, Mom needs to bring me in food right now.
Do you want some food? More meatloaf.
I'm still digesting this.
We're gonna go eat in about an hour
with Bubby.
It's all right. What should I get? I'm getting peace. Let's not talk about food for that.
Right, you're gonna make me hungry, and then it's gonna make me more in a bad mood.
It's all good, Bronny Boo. So everything else is good.
I told Dad right before we started this episode, I go, Dad, don't ask me in the middle.
So what do we got going today?
I go, so don't ask me 5 minutes into the episode. So what do you want to talk about today? I was like, that's not like smooth podcasting. You want it to just be like a flow of conversation. You don't want to stop the conversation and ask, okay, what do you want to talk about? And so that was him trying not to say that. And he was like, so what's up?
How you been, Ronnie?
I could tell that that's what you were doing. And that, so you have a full cup of water without plastics. Yeah.
Oh, this is from last time.
No, I just filled it up for you.
Thank you so much. Where? From the good one?
From the
Ronnie.
From the whatever it's called. The dispenser.
I love you. I did not know. I thought it was, first of all,
fresh, crisp, cold water that hasn't been phthaloid rich, like that one.
First of all, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Second of all, I did not know. And third is my taint size at this point. I already have my kids. I'm not worried about it.
Right. And
So-
clearly your taint is large enough where your sperm worked, and because I exist.
Enough. Very large.
And the jury's still out on mine. For those who actually don't know what we're talking about, you had to listen to our
I don't
Patreon
even understand
episode.
how people choose to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
We went from talking about your hangriness to now the jury being out in your taint size.
Some of the Bronchial women, so I was on a group date with them yesterday.
You didn't talk about
7 of
that,
them.
did you?
No, I didn't
No,
talk
wait.
about it. They
You-
brought it up. Because they were like,
oh my God.
they were like, Bronson, honestly, they were like,
You
we
had-
know too much about you already, and you don't know enough about us. And I was like,
That's
yeah.
true.
I was like, yeah, I'm an open book. I say what I think. And then
Where do you get that from?
my own brain.
From me. Please. Good.
And then they were like, that's why we love the podcast, but also it's like, we know about your taint. And I was like, yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
That's fucking weird. So how'd you handle that?
I just said that. I just said what it is. And I said, I'm fully an open book. I say what I think. The podcast has like made that even more so.
Yes, I noticed that. And I want to talk to you about that. It's a good segue for someone I want to
But
mention.
then also I was like, I like that about myself, but it also has gotten me in trouble in my life multiple times.
In what way?
Like there's so many stories. One story that I can think of, like I remember freshman year of college, I was hanging out with my like freshman group of friends, which like they're the friends for like the first month of school.
Right,
and
because
then
you don't
never
know
see
each
them
other.
again.
Right.
So you just like cling on
Yes,
to the
of
people that are
course.
around you.
Absolutely.
So we're like sitting at the cafeteria, in the cafeteria or something, or in the dining hall, whatever they call it. And some girl comes to the table. She was like in the friend group, and she sits down and she's wearing glasses.
Was she
Like-
Asian?
No. Why?
Some girl? Okay.
What? That's horrible.
Good.
That's anti-Asian hate, Dad.
I'm
Wow.
just having fun. Wow.
Asian lives matter.
Wow.
Dad.
Yes, they do. ALM.
And you're perpetrating whatever the word is.
Perpetuating.
What's the word?
Perpetuating?
Perpetuating. Oh, boy. I really do need food.
I'm perpetuating.
I really do need food. You're
No.
perpetuating Asian stereotype, negative Asian stereotypes.
You know, I read a
Dad.
great book last night
What?
called IP Daily. No, it's called Yellow River by IP Daily.
Okay, where are you
It's a
going with
joke.
this? Oh, IP Daily. Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's like one of my favorite movie quotes is from Wayne's World when they're ordering Chinese food and they do all the different names and he's like, all of the cream of some young guy.
Right. Or when Burke was Russia's attorney, he's now he's Teak, right?
Yeah.
But he was debating: do I go to Teak or do I pledge eat a better thigh?
So stupid.
I got that from my uncle and stuff.
So wait, so freshman year of college, this girl comes and sits down at the dining hall table and she is wearing glasses, like not sunglasses, like glasses to see. And I don't know how it came about, but she said, oh yeah, they're not prescription, they're just clear.
Oh,
And I
got
turned
a
to
story
her,
about that,
I turned
yeah.
to her, I go, why would you do that?
Right.
That's so
Correct.
stupid.
Correct.
Because that's just what my brain instantly thought.
Everybody would think that, but just only Bloom say it.
And I said it, and I didn't even mean anything. It just came out, and she started crying, and she left the table. And then she like never talked to me again for the rest of college, which I'm fine with.
Okay.
But I didn't mean to make her
not
cry.
no.
I just genuinely,
Okay.
my feeling came up, and I was like,
Okay.
that's so stupid. Why would you do
Okay,
that? I wasn't calling her stupid. I was calling that thing
Bronson.
stupid.
Number one is you weren't shaming her. It's just
It had nothing to do with her.
Correct.
It was just my initial thought
but it's
came
just
out.
Like two people that are kids saying like it's like when we grew up, like you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like saying you're an idiot.
Right.
So if you can't handle that,
Yeah.
grow a fucking pair of balls.
Yes.
There was a guy I went to law school. I'm not gonna mention his name. Nice guy. He was the first one. He used to wear. Do you remember when he was an Italian guy? But remember when like Sylvester Stallone went with that whole? It was like Tango and Cash. Remember that movie?
I wasn't alive for that. I don't remember.
So this guy, he wanted to look. He wore glasses that were just clear.
Yeah.
In law school, like to redefine his whole image. Now he's making himself, I guess, better.
Well, I remember saying to her also, because I think I was like, why she started crying, because I was like kind of drilling into it a little too hard, which is why I'm saying it's gotten me into trouble. Like just me saying
Would
what
you
I
get
think.
arrested over that?
No,
So what
but
kind
I
of trouble
remember
was that.
No, but I remember just being like, that's like you're doing that for style, and it's like an impairment for people. Like having I have glasses. I never wear them because they annoy
Did
me.
you break your foot with the crutches? No, I just like the matches my outfit.
Right. It's like me. I have bad eyes, so I have to wear glasses. you're doing it for style, like you want to have bad eyes. That makes no sense to me. That's what I was saying to her, and she started crying.
But people want to fit and have this image, which we talked about yesterday a little bit in the car. But it's funny because so one thing I want to get, and then we can get into whatever you.
Well, this is
so. No, because you have your topics, and we never. And we always
but this is actually interesting. I think this is
always complain. Not complain. We never get to our topics.
That's okay.
I get it.
People like whatever we're doing. People enjoy. So let's talk.
One thing was really, really cool. One thing so I was having lunch with Tom on Friday, and we were talking, which was like really cool. Like he was telling me a story about Pa, about how a lesson that when he was selling copiers to
Pa is your dad.
Yes, your grandpa.
Right. But some people might not know that.
Fair enough. Thank you. Stop picking. Your nails are gotten worse. Stop picking.
It's because I'm like, I have a lot.
You have a lot to do.
I pick them when I'm
Look,
stressed.
we can't even finish one topic.
Well, I pick them when I'm stressed, but not stressed like
just
in
busy.
a bad way.
No, just busy. You got a lot going on.
Right.
I get it. But you destroy them. So, and he's telling me a story. So I said, when that's really cool. Like my dad passed away, and
Tom is one of your childhood friends.
Yeah, I've known him since
you just said
5.
I was talking to Tom.
Right.
Some people
so
might not know
him
that.
Since 5. He lives in South Florida. He's literally one of my close friends. I love him to death. And he was telling me a story of how my dad was a very good businessman and a very good salesman. And Tom did sales. And when he was younger, Tom was trying to sell him a copier. And he spent like 3 hours over this like copier. But it was about my dad teaching him a lesson, like a life lesson. And Tom's now 57, very successful, and still tells the story about Pa and how, you hear about like football coaches have leave a footprint
a lasting
in your life.
Impact.
Right. So Bryce had that with his coaches. So what's really nice about this podcast, I don't know why but I wanted to bring it up, was that you, not only has it made you and I closer, but you bring up certain lessons. Like you say, I was tough, but I was always fair. Or you bring up stories that you remember. And I don't think our other boys will ever, maybe they're just younger, not mature enough, but have that insight. Because these things one of the things I do to you and the boys, a lot of it, I don't say purposeful in a negative intention, but in a positive intention way to teach you, to give you certain things. And
sometimes you might not know if it like worked or not.
Well,
so if I'm telling you that worked.
Well, it means a lot to me because these are lasting impressions that I know you'll pass down to your kids.
But you didn't finish the Tom and Pa story.
Oh, so he was telling, so we were having lunch and he was telling me a story about, I'm not going to go to the whole story about what selling the copier, but it's pretty cool that like you have this is from 35 years ago that you still have the story about my father. So not only does my dad live on in these stories, but more importantly, how it was somewhat of not a pivotal point, but some meaningful to you.
Right.
And you still talk about it. So, and I was telling him, I said, with this podcast with Bronson, what's been great is that he opens up, because I guess to the viewers, because we've gotten so close with our viewers and we just are fully transparent, that he tells these stories that I didn't realize that he thought about these stories until he brings it up. And I said, it's so meaningful to me. It means so much that my son acknowledges it and recognizes those stories and still thinks about it 5, 10, 15, or 20 years later. Well, not 20 years later, but my point is that
sometimes there are some memories that I have of being like 6 or 7 and being like, oh, that was not realizing it at the time. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh, that was helpful and shaped how I,
right.
Like one that I, so wait, but.
So I just want to let you know, kudos to you.
Well,
love
I think
you.
we're learning about each other.
And I really appreciate that because I don't know if it's their age or if they're, you've always had an old soul, if other boys will be like that. But because I try with them, that I try with them. I try with all my boys to give these lessons and things like that. So I think it's really cool, like to know that what I'm doing sort of working. So I
well,
like
yeah,
it.
You were a good, are a good dad. Now we're in a different like relationship. It's less like parenting. Like I feel like it's less like teaching me lessons and more like
you have your
helping
core.
me along.
You have your core now. Yes.
Like if I need advice or whatever, instead of being like teaching me stuff. But
I agree.
But
I
like
agree.
I can look back at many moments, and those are only the ones that I remember. I'm sure there were thousands of more that I didn't even realize were helping shape me into the person I am, and that's what you were doing. But there are definitely ones that I can like look back on and remember and be like, oh, that was great. And then now I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm thinking about being a father in the next, I want to be a father in the next 5 years.
I
Not
would
in the
agree.
next year, but in the next
5. I
3
agree.
to 5. I
Absolutely.
definitely want to be a father.
28 would be a good age to be a
Right.
dad. I agree.
So I'm already starting to think like, okay, what are things that were good for me or bad for me, so that then I can. But that's, I guess, the circle of life. You always want to take and be a better father
Version,
to
correct,
your
correct,
child.
correct.
But I mean, that's honestly, that's going to be hard. You are a very good father. It's going to be
thank
hard for me
I
to be
love you.
better.
Well,
I don't know.
You'll be a great dad, and we're Mom and I will always be there to help you guys and guide you guys and make you the best versions of you.
Thank you. I remember, like, so you were saying when I was young, I remember a very specific, there are like so many things that stand out specifically. And there's one that I remember being like 6 years old, and we were going, Uncle Brant and all the cousins.
I'm getting like all emotional.
Uncle Brant and all the
How
cousins
nice-
were in the
First
house.
of all, I'm so blessed to be able. I don't even get to it. I'm so blessed to have. This is, you don't understand how priceless to do what we're doing, to have the conversation we're having.
Oh, I understand it. That's why I want to keep doing
you
it.
don't understand it. My point is because it's so. I wish I got my dad. I had a good relationship, and we had our ups and downs, but to have this one day when I'm not here to share, how cool. Remember the videos when we were in California you put together on the thumb drive
The home
for us?
videos.
And we watched them, and we got such a kick out of. They were like 24 videos, and the quality is not nearly as good as the quality of the stuff with the digital today. You can have thousands of hours of footage to sit there with your grandchildren.
Right.
How fucking cool is that?
And it'll just, I feel like it'll be so cool for my future children and for myself to like look back at this podcast, and because like I think even in this is episode 27. In the 27 episodes we've done, you can see both of us changing. I think if you go back to episode 1,
the growth,
you can see how our thoughts have changed about things politically with each other. I think that'll be very interesting in 20 years from now for both of us to look back and be like, watch us grow with each other.
I love it. It's
so wait,
fucking
so
priceless.
this story that
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
remember vividly, I was like 7, maybe a little older, and Uncle Brandon and all the cousins were in Florida.
We're in Mises Preserve.
Yeah, and it was like a Wednesday night, and everyone was going out to dinner. And it was like, you know, when the like out of town family is in town.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah. We're all over the place in this episode.
There was a time when Bronson, who's a great kid, but there was a time when Bronson, I think you weren't older than 10, I don't think, Bronson.
No.
So there was a time that Bronson didn't do his homework. This is what happened. This is what caused this. And for some reason, he was always a good kid, but he didn't do his homework. And I guess,
Why, I wonder.
I don't know.
I don't even remember that.
Well, I do remember because that's what transpired.
Right.
So, and I kept saying to him, I go, and Bronson's more like me. I was more like just preppier. Like I always say, like Alex P. Keaton from like that show years ago. And I was just more.
I don't even know what that is.
But I was always like, I was a studious kid, but I was never. So Bronson didn't do his homework. So I said to Michael Bronson, I'm taking you out of private school. I'm sending you to.
I do remember you saying, I'm going to send you to military.
No,
you said I'm going to send you to public school.
I said, I
which is such a weird threat.
No, because here's the reason why. Because and I had one of my like Bentleys back then, and I remember and I said, I'm going to drive you to, because in Pinecrest there's like no bullying, nothing, whatever.
Pinecrest is the private school that I went to.
Right. So I said,
And it's like very like prep school. Like that's what it was.
It's
We all wore
really,
uniforms.
It's a great school, and it really gets you ready for college. So I'm like, Bronson,
It doesn't, but okay.
I said, I'm not. It does, because academically you're ready for it. You're ready. It's a great school academically,
Okay, academically you're ready for it. Pinecrest does not prepare you for life at all.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
So fuck you, Pinecrest. No, I'm joking.
That's
Pinecrest was
terrible.
Pinecrest was great. It didn't prepare me for life.
School
Doesn't prepare you for life. School in general doesn't prepare you for life.
Pinecrest was great academics, great education, great environment for you to my kids to go to school.
70% of the academics was me learning on my own outside of school.
Bronson, I'm telling you, I went to my own public high school, which was fine, no problem. I see that Pinecrest
We're
was
all over the place.
Well, I want to go back. Pinecrest was worth every penny for my boys to go, even though it was expensive. It was a great environment. You made great friends. You loved the teachers. It was a safe.
It was a great environment. I agree.
Okay, let's move on. So
Yeah.
so I said, I'm gonna pull up my Bentley and drop you off at the public school, and there's kids all over, and it's not like private school, and there's bullies there. And you were like, I remember you're under mom's desk up in a little area by the laundry room, and you were like crying.
Really?
I don't want to go to public school.
Oh God! What a bitch! What a bitch!
No, so I said,
crying about not going to public
and
school.
and kids are gonna tease you when I drop you off in the fancy car, and then whatever. So Continue now, story.
Okay.
That's the reason.
Right.
So there was like a week period. A week.
It was only a week?
Yeah, it wasn't long that you were not doing your homework.
Okay.
And I nipped that shit in the bud.
Well, I vividly remember. So the family, like out of town family, was in town staying with us. So it was fun. You know, all the cousins are in the house. We're all having fun. And it was a school night. And I remember we were going out to dinner at like,
I think Stir Crazy or something.
Yeah, like a fun restaurant that like was one of my favorite restaurants. And so of course I was excited to go. And you said, as long as you finish your homework before we go, we can all go.
No, you can go. Now we're all going.
No, like
right.
As long as you finish your homework, you'll go. And I guess I didn't finish my homework and I lied to you about it or something or whatever. And I just remember it was like out of a movie.
You were in the driveway.
You guys were, you're jumping ahead. Don't jump ahead of the story.
I remember it vividly.
You were like, you're not going. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not going? My three cousins, my two brothers, the whole family, mom, dad, uncle, like everyone's going and I'm not going. I'm going to stay home alone. And you're like, yes, you didn't finish your homework.
We had to live in, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I remember I was like, how is that possible? You're going to leave me home alone? I just didn't finish my homework. And you were like, I told you that this is what it was. And I remember the only part of that I vividly remember is I'm on my knees on the driveway crying as the car with everyone. And I remember like the window was rolled out and Bryce's head was at the window, like looking at me. Yeah. And the car drives out of the driveway and I'm on my knees crying. Like, how could you do this to me?
What Uncle Brant goes to me in the car, he goes, man, you're mean. He goes, I don't know. I go,
but now looking back, it wasn't mean.
I'm not doing it to be mean.
No, it wasn't mean.
And I don't, you know why I don't find that mean?
Maybe it was mean, but it was necessary.
No, it's not mean because you have to understand, I'm not physically abusing you. I'm not emotionally abusing you. And I'm not
right,
human.
You just set up a rule and I didn't follow it.
I'm not humanizing it. I'm just saying, matter of fact, you made a choice. And I'm not rewarding that choice.
Right, you were like, you knew the
consequences.
Right, and you still made the choice.
Doesn't make you a bad kid, but that...
No, and I remember it.
And so therefore you do your homework.
Right. And another one I remember, and then we can go off this topic, but another one I remember is, this sticks in my head so much, this specific moment. It was so minuscule, but you know how like in life you have certain moments where it was like so inconsequential at the time, but then even at the time, you're like, oh, I'm going to remember this. And then for the rest of your life, you're like, you have that memory. And this one, I remember I was at Zach Kahn's house. Shout out Zach Kahn, who was my best friend growing up.
You guys were besties, let me tell you. Yeah,
and I remember,
it was nice.
I remember I was at Zach's house and I wanted to sleep over. We wanted to have a sleepover. It was like Friday night or whatever. And mom told me before, she was like, you can't sleep over because Saturday morning, maybe I had taekwondo early or something. She was like,
just so you know, guys know, I'm a major black belt martial artist. Bronson was a junior black belt. He got it. Yes. He did.
I did like 10 years of taekwondo.
100% got his black belt, was great. And then he went to high school and he stopped.
Yeah.
Which I understand.
I would like to get back into it now, but
okay. You could do it with me, maybe.
Just to even do like, just as a physical activity to do. Okay, so back to the story. I remember mom like dropped me off at Zach's house after school and she was like, there's no sleepovers tonight. Like, so I remember Zach and I were playing and it was getting late. Like it was after dinner and mom was going to come and pick me up at 9 or whatever. And I was like, both Zach and I wanted to sleep over. Like we wanted to have a sleepover. So he was like, just call your mom and tell her you want to sleep over. And I was like, no, I can't. She said no. And he was like, just call her though and ask her again. And I was like, but she said no already. And he was like, yeah, but just keep asking until she says yes. And I remember,
like Burke does
I was maybe 11 and I remember thinking, oh, we had different childhoods.
Dynamics.
I was like, I remember not conceptualizing it like I do now, but I remember thinking like, oh, something is different here because I was like, I would never think to ask my parents when they said no, because I know that the answer is still going to be no. And then that'll just annoy them. And then why would I want to annoy them? But then I remember thinking, oh, Zach, I guess if he keeps asking his parents, they'll say yes. And I don't remember thinking of it as bad or good. I was just like, we just have different relationships with our parents. And to this day, I still think about that moment as being like, oh, now I think, not to throw Zach's parents under the bus, but now I think like mom and you that was a better situation. Like me realizing no is no and not even bothering to ask again is better. A better parenting thing.
What it does is it sets up boundaries and consistency, and I think it just makes it easier. I think if you start that stuff when you're young, you like as a parent, and there's certain parents that when the baby cries all the time in the crib, they pick up the baby and the baby stops crying. It's manipulation even at that age. Look at Zerai. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look at how cute, 3 years old, little Zerai. She knows how to manipulate the shit.
Yeah, that's just human nature.
That's an instinctive thing.
Right.
It's all so to me, I never, and mom's like, oh, don't make her cry. I'm like, I didn't make her cry. I just said no when she went to cry. So,
and also, if she cries, she cries.
Right. And mom's like, goes to pick her. I go, no, don't pick her up. And it's not one's bad or the other. It's just that I don't like humanizing those things when you're teaching lessons or these rules or boundaries, because then you become this weak link and people like play on it. Yeah. So I found it much easier. Have these set rules. By the way, if you misbehave, you break the rule, it's not the end all, but you have
kids
to.
Are going to
people are right
misbehave,
right? People are, but my point is, you have to have some sort of foundation, some sort of boundaries and parameters, and work with it. Because if it's a fucking free for all, you just it's like people with their dogs. If you just let your fucking dog do whatever and you don't put the effort in and do what you need to do, you got a fucking.
And you're
nasty
setting
dog.
yourself up for failure later in life, because it's like, don't you want your kid, like when I'm thinking about like being a father in the future, I'm like, I want my kid to be, when they're 15, to be someone that I'm like, oh, I enjoy hanging out with you. I enjoy, because even as a 25-year-old, there are a lot of 13-year-old kids where I'm like, wow, you're annoying. I don't want to spend any time with you. But then there were other 13-year-old kids where I'm like,
pleasure.
Oh, you're actually interesting, and I want to engage with you. I want to, I would be happy to sit down with you. And so I'm like, I really want my kid to be the latter. I want them to be someone who I want to
be
spend
like my
time
boys
with.
that hang out. Correct.
Yeah. And so I guess it's like part of that, I think, might just be luck of the draw. Like,
I think a lot of that's parenting, Bronny.
Yeah.
I do. I think a lot of, because what happens is, if I said to you boys when you were younger, we have company over, and you sit, back then Game Boys were a big thing. Like, like cell phones, our Game Boys were back then. If I just let you sit and play on your Game Boys, you think you would be any different? You'd be the same fucking kid. So I always say, when we're out to dinner, none of that stuff we talk. Or when a company come over and we sit out, I make you join us. You outside.
Socialized us.
Always when you're little. Isn't it like, say, again, I don't keep acquaintance to that you guys are not dogs, but if you hold your dog all the time and don't engage your dog with dog parks or dog beaches or walk your dogs, and you don't think the dog's will not engage. So that's interesting. So last night, I think I told you this morning. So we had this graduation party. It was fun. Our roof is finally done. It's fucking killer roof top, right? And I guess some of the kids brought other kids, whatever. I just found it so funny because I don't have house parties. We entertain at parties, but I don't have parties for kids at my house. That's
right.
No,
just go on.
We've never done that, right? Because they trash it. I don't like strangers in my house, on my yards. So in walked there's 5 girls, and you could tell they're young. Mm-hmm. So I go up to them and I go, how old are you? And then they go, 18. I go, there's no drinking. They look at me like deer in headlights, like a deer in head, right? Deer?
Yeah.
It's plural. Yeah.
Like a deer in headlights.
Right. Or it looked like numerous deer would be still the same word.
Deer in headlights.
Right. Yeah. So, and then they didn't know what the fuck to do. It's unbelievable.
Well, they were 100%. When you're 18, that's why you go. That's why you have house parties, is so that you can drink.
Then one guy's sitting on my on the fucking wall. I said, "Dude, get off my fucking wall!" There's no.
That was
respect.
big of you to have a party for strangers.
Well, I was
a party with strangers, not for strangers.
I was on edge a little bit. I was watching thoroughly, keeping on. Sit off here. Then he's leaning on my chair back. Don't lean on the chair back like that. Whatever.
Yeah, I never had any desire to have parties growing up because. Because I was like, Dad would never, that just wouldn't work with you, because it would be way more stress than what's worth it.
Not happen. And
then also I'm like, only idiots have parties, especially in high school.
But it was calm though last night.
Right. But I'm saying in high school, people who had the party house, where you would go, I can think of, there were idiots. 3 people who were always the ones who had the parties at their house in high school. And I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Idiots.
Because why would I ever want to host the party when I can just go to a party and then leave when I'm ready?
Correct.
And then not have to clean up. Idiots host parties.
It was just so funny. It was so funny.
Okay, so something that happened in the news, not to just completely change the subject, but something that's going on, which I think will be interesting for us to talk about because I think we'll feel differently about this. Maybe. I actually don't know how you'll feel about this.
I'm getting hungry, by the way.
Me too. But I'm forcibly keeping a good mood on, you know?
Nice.
See it? Growth.
Nice, yeah.
So in the House of Representatives.
I was like, what fraternity house? Good.
In the House of Representatives last week, they passed a bill. So now it's going to go to the Senate, but it passed through the House to make Washington, D.C. the 51st state. It passed in the House.
All right, so let's talk about Washington because I never really understood it. You know, like it's like when I was little, when someone had a garden apartment, I thought it was actually a garden. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
when I was little, you could
right.
See,
I
like,
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So, D.C. is District of Columbia, right?
Yep.
But it's not a state of the United States.
Correct.
It's a weird, but it's its own. It had its own boundary lines and things like that. So
it has its own police system.
It looks like a state.
Yes, it's a neutral zone is what it was set up to be, so that it was. The founding fathers set it up to be stateless, so that it was neutral for every state. Because if it was its own state, then it would have a stake in things. So then, and they put it dead center for the North and the South, so that it was.
It's a conflict of interest,
right? Right, and it was all. It was
so
set
it's
up.
federal. Is it the whole thing's run by federal funds?
Yeah, but also but it's with its own.
I always understood. I know it sounds stupid. I always considered its own separate state in my mind, just from a lay person, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you were saying,
but there's a lot of complications with it.
I'm sure things that I don't understand
because. Well, there's a lot of layers to making it a state because,
is it something that Democrats are doing?
Well, wait, let me just ask you.
If it's something that Democrats are doing, it can't be fucking good.
Well, let me just ask you, without going into any of the context, do you when I told you it's going to be the 51st state? Are you cool, or are you that's horrible?
Okay,
where do you lie just in the thought of that?
All right. So my first reaction is, I don't agree with it, and
why?
The reason, right? And I'm going to say from just my subjectiveness, not knowing anything. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I don't know. I'm sure I don't know the things involved for making a state, what the pros and cons are, and then you adding the fact that it should be neutral is a bigger concern for me. Okay, so the reason why my first instinctive reaction to say don't do it is because it's been like this for hundreds of years.
That's the worst reason to do anything.
Let me finish. No, you gotta let me finish.
But that's such a bad reason for anything.
But
whenever someone gives me that as sorry, go on.
No, but you're taking an excerpt.
Okay,
doing what the Democrats do or the libs in their articles. I'm just giving the reason. And therefore, I don't know whether it's been good or bad since from the very beginning to currently now. But the track record and what I've seen of the Democratic Party and the liberals of what's been going on since they've been involved in government has been so far crazy that they even moved you over towards more side, and you're much more liberal than I am. I'm thinking that if they're the ones behind it, it can't be good. So it's one more, to me, if they're the ones behind it, it's one more play for power, control, and therefore it does not make sense to me. I don't want this organization doing anything that could be materially changing our landscape, because what they've showed me in the past, the most recent past, is unfucking believable that it scares the fuck out of me.
So what?
Does that make sense now?
Yes. So what if it wasn't a Democratic power play?
Okay. Now, if it was, let's say,
what if it was a Republican power play? What if it wasn't even a power play? What if it was just because my side, or how I want to think about it, and how I do at the core of the issue, I think that there are hundreds of thousands of people who live in D.C. who are taxed by the government, who don't have a say in the government. And I think that that's the most un-American thing. So I think that our country literally was founded on we started a country because the people were saying we're being taxed without representation. That's the whole thing. Taxation without representation.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Wait. So that's what our country was founded on.
Okay.
And now there are DC has, I can get the exact number up, but they have hundreds of thousands of residents who are being taxed who have no say in what happens with their tax dollars.
Okay, I agree with you on that.
In theory, in American, like,
democracy,
right? I believe that they should be represented in government.
Can I ask you this? What? Here's my question. It's a couple questions. What caused this? Why now? And what's the purpose or reasoning behind it?
Right. So that's why I wanted to say, in theory, I think that it should be.
Well, anyone that pays something should have a say, no matter whatever it is in life.
They don't.
If you pay, you should have a say.
DC has one representative who's in Congress, but they're not allowed to vote. So they don't have a vote.
I did not know. It's terrible.
In DC, by the way, the city of Washington, D.C. has a larger population than the state of Wyoming and the state of Virginia or Vermont. So if DC became a state, it would not even be even though it's smaller than Rhode Island, it would not be the smallest state in population. There are already states with a lower population, because that's a lot of people's argument. They're like, it's so small. Why should it be a state? And it's like, it would have more people represented in it than already 2 states have. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind.
So tell me, I asked those 4 questions. Tell me the what brought it about, the reasoning why, what they plan, what
right.
their goal is, and what effect.
It's been a thing for like decades. People in DC for decades have been like, we want representation.
Is this in the DC thing, or is this a political?
So it's
thing?
both. So that's why I think DC residents want representation, and I'm
get
for
it.
that.
I get that.
However, the reason why it's being pushed so hard now is because
is this like one increase the Supreme Court from 9 to 13?
Right. So why it's being so pushed now is because right now we have 50 states. Each state gets 2 senators. So everything is completely even, right? 50 with 2 senators means we have 100. That's an even number. And so and right now in the Senate, like the Senate is pretty even, right? I think as of right now, it is 50-50. There are 50 Republican senators, 50 Democratic senators. And then if it's a tie, the vice president is the tiebreaker, Kamala Harris. So the Democratic Party technically has control of the Senate, but they don't really, because it's close. If one Democratic senator votes no on something, it doesn't pass, right? So they don't really have control. Washington, D.C., making it a state will give it 2 senators. D.C. historically, I have the numbers here. D.C. in the last 20 years has had around 6% Republican votes.
So
94% of DC voting track record is Democrat. So that will give the Senate 2 extra Democratic senators
more
pretty
control.
much for decades. They'll have 2 Democratic votes. So that means they can just pass things through, right?
It's like increasing the Supreme Court. This is all they do. They only care. It's all about fucking power. The whole thing. But not even about Democrats. This is about the top leaders. It's not even about Democrats because I'm sure there's good Democratic people and bad Republican people. It's so much power.
I know, but that's why I'm torn on it, because on the one hand,
no, I can't fucking do it.
I know, but so then we allow hundreds of thousands of people to not exist within our government, even though they live.
They don't have to live in the city. They don't have to live in D.C.
But they do. A lot of them do have to live in D.C. I get it, but Bronson, that's the most un-American thing. But then
they change the Supreme Court, like see, I want to say this, Bronson. When you're in a government, and it's not like this anymore, you're in a position of what's better for the people and a fiduciary. You know what a fiduciary is?
It's never what's better for the people.
So they're doing these things, not what's better for the people, but what's better for themselves. And that's the problem. These are bad fucking people.
But also,
do you agree these are bad people?
I agree. A lot of people in government are bad people.
Wait, do you agree the top leaders like Pelosi and all these are bad fucking people?
I agree that a lot of the top leaders, Pelosi, Trump, are bad people. Yes, I will include Trump in that as a bad person.
Okay, Bronson.
Well, because name someone bad on the Republican side.
No, but you understand what I'm saying.
Because you're only saying people on the left are bad.
No,
name someone bad on the Republican side.
Bronson, by the way, I didn't have a problem with Bill Clinton. I had a problem with Hillary Clinton.
Name someone bad on the Republican side. You can't, because you're just party lines.
No, I'm not lines.
Name someone good on the left.
Actually, I believe I voted for fucking Bush Jr. He was an idiot. He's not saying.
Name someone good on the left, Len. Name someone who you don't think is evil, who's a Democrat.
No, I'm talking about the leaders. I'm talking about the 3 or 4 top leaders that are running our country. That's what I'm talking
But in
about.
2021, in 2020, were the leaders evil who were leading the country?
Pelosi always been a problem.
But wait, in 2020, when it was Trump, Pence, McConnell, were they evil?
I like Trump.
So
I think Trump did. I think Trump did good for our country. There's a difference. I think fucking Pelosi, Harris, and Biden's just a waste.
I'm trying to get you to acknowledge that you're being biased.
No, Bronson. What I'm saying is they're not doing good for our country. If someone's a Democrat doing good for our country, I'm fine with it. I have zero issue with it. It's not about Democrat, Republican. I want people to do good for our country. Now it's good for themselves. There's a difference.
I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying. Period. And I will stand firm. Do I think Trump's a moron when he says certain things? Yes. But do I believe he's doing good for our country? Absolutely. Do I think they're all corrupt and they all got skeletons in the closet? Absolutely. But I don't want people that are not doing what's good for our country. Hillary, self-serving, not doing good for our country. I think there are
someone like Bernie. You don't. I would think you would. You don't agree with his politics at all, but you don't view him as evil.
Hate him. Right?
Like you don't think he's like Pelosi evil.
No, I don't.
I truly believe that Bernie Sanders genuinely he's trying to do what he thinks is best for the people.
When you take
might not agree with
Bloomberg, who I didn't dislike, but when he put his money up just to go against Trump, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to run for the president, Bloomberg, and you want to do it just because you want what's best for our country, knock yourself out. I don't want to get into the whole anti-witching hunt against Trump. But my point
let's
is,
go back to D.C.
I don't like what they're doing. So I don't, if based on what you tell me, and I know only what you tell me, that's the only knowledge I have, I don't want them to fucking do it.
So if it was the opposite, so I said it's 6% Republican, 94% Democrat. If it was 94% Republican and Trump and the Republican side were trying to push through to make DC a 51st state to get 2 more Republican senators, would you be like, yes?
And I'll tell you the reason why I would be. Listen, and the reason
but that's government control and pushing an agenda. You just happen to think it's the right one, but that's still But then you're against your own argument.
No, I hear what you're saying about that, but the reason why we have a tendency, I'm just being honest with you, why we have a tendency to say, I would most likely probably say yes, because I don't like the agenda of what's going on with the Democratic and liberal side. I don't like it. It's so bad and so scary. Like even when they want to some 13 million and change the schools in California, things are getting so erratic and so fucking crazy. It's not happening on the Republican side.
What if the Republicans? But
if the
it's all control. What if the Republican side gets the senators in 2 years, and then in 5 years they change their views on things, and you're like, wait, I don't agree with the Republican side now.
So you just asked me my opinion. So I'm telling you, I probably would first blush say yes. But on the same token, like I know Republicans are anti-abortion, right? Generally, I make a general
generally, yeah, and not much so anymore, but generally,
correct. And anti-homosexuality, generally. I mean, okay, I don't agree with that. I am in favor of people want to have abortion or sexuality. So
what the Republican Party got 2 more Senate seats, pushed through anti-abortion rules, and then no one in this country could get legal abortions.
You're right. So
you would be like, wow, I shouldn't have done that.
But you're arguing when I'm not disagreeing. I'm agreeing with you. I would say at first blush, I would say yes. I'd have no problem if Republicans did it because they're so crazy what's going on the Democratic and liberal side. But you're saying, what if the Republicans got that way? I'm like, you're right. So therefore, based upon that, I'm saying it should not. And I hope. I'm just scared of what's going on. The changes so drastic. Bronson,
me too. But that's why I'm also like, not just the left. I would be scared if the right was getting
you're right.
was consolidating power as well.
I'm agreeing with you 100%. So I agree with you. Okay. So when the first bill they passed was he, she, they, them, I'm like, oh my God, help us. Because that's the first bill. It just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So, and then when you watch the things and making things so racist, the comments, the president's doing what they're doing, that they get involved in things they shouldn't be getting involved, and they're fostering racism.
Yeah, they certainly are.
They're 100% because all they want to do is separate our country. That's all they want to do is separate, which makes no sense. Bring us together. So I'm so against it. That's the part I have a fucking problem.
And both sides are trying to separate more and more.
Well, now it's become...
There's no one in Congress, there's no one in the government that is talking about working with the other side, making things better.
That's right. And
every single person is,
Bronson,
they're evil, we're right.
Bronson, look at our society as people.
I know, it's horrible.
It's disgusting. When we go out to dinner with them, we see people, the conversation is the same. You don't agree, you're a moron. Both sides.
Yeah, and now it's even like, oh, you don't agree, we can't be friends.
Correct. The world's fucked up.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
But that's purposeful, and it's honestly like foreign to like China is the main thing stoking those fires too. I think they stoke those fires more than our own government. I think to try to divide us because look how weak we are now compared to 20 years ago, and look how strong China is. That's purposefully done.
Yeah, and
the fact that the first meeting with the Chinese diplomats and the American diplomats of Biden's presidency, the first thing they said was, "You're a racist country." They don't actually believe that. That was purposefully, tactfully done to try to divide us
and look at the fact
and
that
take away from us saying you guys are having a genocide, because then now we're just fighting. Oh, we're racist. We're racist.
Right,
we're
we
racist.
gotta be defensive instead of right. Or what about the fact that on a simple level, Bronson, on a simple level, that you can't post certain things on TikTok if it's not in their favor. If it's anything
just
negative,
it's
bad.
so dangerous,
It's bad.
and
It's
that's why I'm saying like I want to try to think of the DC issue as a no sides thing. I don't want to play
leave
sides.
it. You got to leave it. You got to fucking leave
but
it.
It's but
gotta leave it.
When the country was set up, DC was established as a place where no one lived. It was just, and government in this country used to be this way, and this is what it should go back to, where it was businessmen, farmers, people who had their own lives, independent of politics
Like
and government.
Board of directors.
Right. And once a year, you would come convene in Washington, D.C. for a month, do all the things you needed to do, right? There was a docket of things that needed to get done. Okay, let's go through them. Let's do all the due diligence we need to do, and then let's go back and live our lives. Oh, if there's something that, there's a war that's coming. Oh, let's reconvene. Emergency meeting, reconvene.
But Bronson, you do know
now
that,
it's every day.
Bronson,
all they do is
Bronson,
government stuff.
but
We don't
Bronson,
need that.
I agree, but the problem is that our country has gotten too big.
Right. But that's why DC
too big,
is a different issue now.
Too big, too much economic, global organization, whatever.
Yeah.
We have so many other countries surrounding us that are and technology and military stuff that unfortunately it's beyond a full-time job. So it's nice in theory.
The reality is different.
When you had 100,000 people with, 1 million acres, it was easy.
Right.
It's different today. You got borders, you got safety issues.
Agree. And that's why I'm like, I agree.
It's nice.
But then also that's why DC.
Isn't it nice going back to say, oh, I would love to be in the 50s with love and romance. Things have evolved and when you evolve, sometimes they say, bigger isn't always better. Nell, and I'll talk about, I remember when we, used to go downstairs in our little apartment and we used to go to a little Italian place and get $5.99 pasta and things were simple and we living on a budget and this and that. Sometimes more isn't always better. And so I get you reminisce and you want and get nostalgic of wanting to go back.
But I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that's what it should be in theory. And so that's why a lot of people's argument for DC not having statehood is that they were like, that's not what the founding fathers wanted. They wanted it to be neutral. They wanted it to be something removed from government, removed from statehood. But the fact of the matter is things have changed. DC is a full city. It's huge.
Yeah, like any other city.
And so now it's like, it's so large that when it was 2,000 people living there, okay, 2,000 people without representation, fine, right? Like they can go elsewhere and have representation. Now it's so large that it's such a big chunk of this country without representation in their own government, yet they still pay taxes and have to contribute and are forced to contribute.
Right, but the intent behind it is a problem.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm torn on it. The intent is a problem. And
I don't want it.
It will change the fabric of this country forever in a dangerous way because it will help one side consolidate power. And I don't think any of the sides should have power. I think it should all be equal power. And so everyone is just working together. If one side is like if they have control of all the branches of government, that is very dangerous. And even people on the left should be terrified of that as well. No,
but they don't think like that. No,
if you are like love the Democratic Party, you support and you consider yourself liberal in ideas and everything, you shouldn't want one side having all the power and being able to push through whatever they want.
Right,
because what if they turn on you?
What you wish for.
Right. Like what if they do one thing that you're like, I don't agree with that one. Sucks to suck. They have all the power. It becomes like a dictatorship authority. Right. It becomes a totalitarian regime. And so if one person in it decides to do one thing that they want to do and you don't agree with it, You have no one should want totalitarian authority. No one.
No, it's scary. Dictatorship.
But a lot of people like that.
Well, I don't think people think it through, Bronson. They just, again, drink the
But
Kool-Aid.
a lot of people want it. Like the U.S., it was crazy. And we don't think of it in terms like this. But the U.S. in the year of 2020 was a totalitarian regime. They said, you can do this. You can't do this. You can open your business. You can't. You can go outside. You can't. They told us what to do, and we had to listen. That never happened before in the history of America.
To listen, but people fucking listen. People are idiots.
So then, right, I guess technically you never have to do anything. But when you live in a dictatorship, if you don't do something, they cut your head off. In the year of 2020, if you didn't listen to what the government wanted you to do, they tanked your business and you lost all your savings. So you didn't have to do it, but you did. You know what I mean? Like,
we should have stood up more. We're weak. The Republicans are fucking weak and people are fucking weak.
America became a totalitarian regime for a year, and it was crazy, and most people were okay with it, and that's absolutely terrifying to me.
Correct.
Not as someone who's right,
correct.
not as someone who's left,
Correct.
not as someone who's Democrat, Republican. The fact that our government for a year became fully totalitarian, and the majority of America was like on their knees, tell us what to do next.
Right, because
that is such a horrible precedent to set.
We're fucked. People
Because
are
also
fucking
the
weak.
government then learned, we can do this. People are okay with
you
us
don't think
doing
the
this.
mask is the same fucking thing right now?
But I'm saying, like, each side, the Republican side saw, we can do this. People are okay with the totalitarian regime. And the left said this is saying the same thing. That's terrifying. We need to do something about that. But I think the cat's out of the bag.
Too late.
They saw it.
That's right.
They saw that we are willing as a people to be like, whatever you want us to do, we'll do.
Herd the sheep. That's all it is.
And they saw it.
That's
and so they
bad.
know that we can do.
Bad.
They know that they can do it again. So what's to stop them from getting these two
We
extra
need
seats?
more people like us
Right.
to stand the fuck up and speak our mind. That's
Yeah.
what we need to do. This is what I've been saying from the beginning. We need to speak our mind. We need to say, no, I'm not tolerating it.
Yeah.
That's how it changes when you do that.
And that's why so many people on the show who listen to the show are like, Bronson is just becoming a Republican. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just I'm just saying the government.
Right, it's not the Republican
It's government
Democrat.
control.
Correct.
That's all it is. And it's like they're realizing that they can control us more and more. And that's going to be inevitable. When you give controls to the government, they don't give them back. When you give freedoms away to the government, they don't, at least there's no precedent of them giving them back.
No.
They take and they keep. They take and they keep. So if we keep giving, at a certain point, there's not going to be anything more to give.
But I've been saying this for a fucking long time. We need to stand the fuck up, speak our mind.
And that's not a left
say
or a
no.
right thing.
No,
It's a
forget-
freedom thing.
But listen, guys, the Republicans are dumb fucks too. Okay, they're morons. The Republicans. I'm not talking about a political view. I'm talking the fact is, so when they start putting cameras out there on the traffic lights and be like, oh, I go, because it becomes the beginning of the end. Mm-hmm. When they start going in and fucking taking away, I don't care if you believe in guns or not. If it's your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, don't take it away. When you say, oh my God, not you, I'm saying people, cancel culture, or you can't say that, it's shaming them. No, it's called First Amendment right. Don't be friends with that person you don't like it. But people that speak their fucking mind. Just like you saying to that girl, you wear glasses that you don't need fucking glasses? Are you an idiot? You have a right to say that. Okay?
Right.
So if you stop speaking your fucking mind, then it's like when the Jews couldn't walk around the streets, they had to hide themselves from being Jews back in the Nazi regime. We can't allow it. People need to speak the fuck up and not be, and if they want to shut your business down, don't let them shut your fucking business down. They say you can't do this, say no, I'm fucking doing it. You need to stand up because this has become otherwise you live your life in a fucking cage.
Yeah, mentally.
No,
and it's going to become physically. It will become physically. Governments want power. That's how government is set up, is structured. And so if you keep giving them more power, they will never give it back to you. So even part of me thinks like certain things that, right, like the Second Amendment and stuff, like part of me thinks there are certain guns that like are dangerous and people shouldn't own them. Or not shouldn't own them, but like shouldn't exist. Right? I have a big difference between telling someone they can't own something and then I'm just like, why does even certain of these things exist in the first place? Those are different. That's a different mindset because I think people should be able to own whatever they want. But the fact that people can own certain things, I'm like, how do we live in a world where there's whatever? But what I'm saying is, I'll never ever support giving up
right.
the Second Amendment, because even if I don't think, let's say I don't think people should be able to own guns in 2021 in the nice, safe world we live in. If you give that up, let's say 25 years down the road, the American government just keeps getting more controlling, and then some crazy leader comes into power and they're like, I want to sick the military on the American people or whatever, right? If you gave up that rule and then in 20 years you're like, oh, actually, I want that rule back, I want to be able to own guns, you're never, ever getting a thing back once you gave it up. So you should never want to give up things, even if you think that we would live in a better society without that. Like, if you think we would live in a better world by giving something up, never give it up, because you can't get it back once you gave it away. And what if you want it back? If you want it back?
I get it. So, like in law, when I read a lot of contracts, and they'll say you waive this right, you waive this service, and I go, and I never, when I read represent clients, I say I'll never give up what my client's legal rights are. Those rights are in place. Those are deal breakers.
Yeah.
So we as people, we live in America because of the freedoms. And by the way, if someone doesn't believe in guns, that's okay. I am okay if someone says, I don't believe in guns. That's their choice. But I live in America. That's one of the constitutional rights. So therefore, that should not be taken away from me. You don't have
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't want to live in a world where it's like guns are all around me all the time. Guns are scary things. They're dangerous. I don't want, I think they're necessary and they're good to have for protection. But I don't want to live in a world where people are like, I walk into Starbucks and someone has a fucking assault rifle on their back. That's scary to me. But I would never want to stop that person from having that right to do it.
So the biggest problem we have, I find, the biggest concern is your First Amendment rights. And that's happening right now as we speak. They are censoring. Remember when we did that, typing in riots and typing in
protests?
That's censorship. That is censorship, right? So the propaganda that's going on, the news that's going on, the social media that's going on, the things on your computer, those are taking away our First Amendment rights and force feeding. It's like feeding the baby veal. They're feeding people propaganda, which is bullshit, that people drink the Kool-Aid and they're like sheep being heard saying, yes, okay, like you said, okay, do what you want. The cat's out of the bag, and the only way to overcome this, the only fucking way to overcome it, is to stand up and say no more and speak your mind. You need to oppose
and also
it.
We just need to make the government way less powerful.
Okay, but
just scale everything back.
Don't believe everything you see on you read on the internet, and don't believe everything you hear on TV. We as people need to stand up and have our voices heard. We have to do that. We have no choice. We have a lot of Patreon members and listeners that have our views, and they've talked to us. Remember, Bron saying, I agree with what you say, but I don't have the balls to say it. Remember, we've had these conversations, or I don't know how you speak your mind, because they want to speak their mind. And my advice is that speak your mind. We have to speak our mind. We have to say no.
We have to do it, I think, for the sake of society and also for your own soul. Not that, I don't mean soul in a religious way. Like your own if you're not living how you think, if you're constantly telling little white lies and constantly being like, oh yeah, that's crazy, when you don't think it is or whatever.
That's a recipe for disaster.
It'll eat away at you.
Correct.
You feel so much better when you're just living as you are, who you are, right. Just living
whatever
the life.
That is.
Right.
But
and if someone doesn't like it, you for it, then cast them out of your life, and then you feel even better.
That's right. But you know that girl that wore those glasses, that were clear glasses, she's not casting people out. She can't handle it. We need to be thicker skinned.
She's actually a reporter for the Miami Herald now, which is very funny. She works in the media.
Like I always say, stop being the pussy. Stop wondering what other people think about us. Stop with the, everyone's equal. We need to speak our mind. And Bronson, that's a big concern of mine, what's going on with the government. You know that. And we need to speak our mind, speak with the reality of it. And if someone doesn't like you, okay. You can't, everyone can't be your friend. No one's perfect. Not everybody's a leader. Not everybody's equal. It's just
and also, if someone doesn't like you for who you are and how you think, then that's
why do you want them as a friend?
Well, yeah, I feel like I love when I learn about that stuff. Like if I'm dating, if I'm talking to a girl or whatever, and the girl, or a big thing now with online dating is whatever, is girls will be like, I only date people who are over 6 foot. Like I only date guys who are 6 foot
Right,
or
not
taller.
7.
If a girl asks me, let's say I'm on Tinder or whatever, not that I'm not on that stuff anymore, but if someone says like, oh, by the way, how tall are you? And I say, oh, I'm 5'9", and they go, oh, well, I only date people who are 6 foot. I'm like thankful for her telling me that this early because then I've learned, oh, I don't have to waste my time with the person
5'9"?
who's
I
like
thought you
this.
were taller than
5'9",
that.
5'10", I don't know.
I think, Brian, I think you're taller than 5'9".
People, it's like a thing now that if you say you're 5'10" or 5'11", it means you're actually like 5'9" and lying about it.
But you're not lying. But I mean, honestly, I think you're taller than that.
I'm probably 5'10".
When you get your taint measured, why don't you measure
I will.
Your height?
I will. I'm so hungry. Let's go eat. We got to go eat.
All right.
I'm
So this was good, interesting. I had no idea what we were going to talk about, and this I learned something about the that's scary, but it's every day something scary.
I mean, it's probably not going to pass the Senate, but it passed the House, so it's halfway there.
All right, let's go eat. Love you, Bronny.
Love you too, Dad.
All right, bye everybody. Thanks.
Bronchial, if you're listening to this when it just came out, Bronchial will be out in 2 hours from this moment. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Monday. If you're listening to this later, which most people don't listen to this right when it comes out 5 o'clock on Monday. If you're listening to this later, go onto our YouTube page. First episode of Bronchial is going to live on YouTube only, and so go check it out. I think it's fun. It's a 30-minute episode. I think you guys will enjoy it. All right, let's go eat.
Love you, Bronny.
Love you too.
Bye, guys. You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.